Robots are happening. Marques Brownlee reviewing a Bionic Hand. Oh, it's like a glove you put on, or is he? I mean, we're gonna find out, but very curious. Usually reviews like technology and stuff, so yeah, it must be pretty cool. So let's watch this together. Oh, it's copying him?
Tech reviews are getting kind of weird, huh? We're reviewing a Bionic Hand today. So this thing right here is called the Bionic Ability Hand. And it is an incredibly cool, incredibly niche, and incredibly helpful piece of technology. It is specifically a carbon fiber and metal motorized articulating hand.
Yeah, you know they made that carbon fiber just to double the price. We all know. Look at this, carbon fiber wrist, hand. They just couldn't do the fingers because they move. Don't play. 10,000 minimum. 20.
Attaches to prosthetics for people who have lost their hand or don't have a hand to regain as much functionality as possible. It's Bluetooth connected, it has its own app, it's incredibly durable, it's waterproof, and it's cheap enough to be fully covered by Medicare. So you might remember a few months ago that video that I did with 3D Pets, which was 3D printed prosthetics for animals that made a huge difference in quality of life, just with some simple structures to help their joints even out and make it relatively easy to print another one if the animal changed in size or something. Well, I'd say this is the opposite end of the technological spectrum. Now, obviously, I have two hands, so you might be wondering how I'm going to review this Bionic Hand. Great question. There's actually two ways that I can show you how this works. One is pretty straightforward. The other is a little more interesting. So the first way
Do you have a volunteer?
is with this control stick right here. It's pretty simple, actually. The hand, which normally connects to a prosthetic, connects to the control stick, locks into place very satisfyingly, and now it's connected to a battery and some buttons. There's also some ports down here, and most importantly, this button at the bottom here turns it on, and once it initializes, does this little finger wag, and it's now alive, and you can connect to the hand through an app that lets you go way into more detailed control. And this app is pretty smart. This is where you can rotate between a bunch of different preset hand positions known as grips. So this, for example, is called the cylinder grip. So you could use this to grab a larger object like a door handle or something like that. And then you can always open and close the grip with the buttons here. Then you might have something like a pinch grip. And that's maybe for something smaller like writing or picking up a berry or something extra small. There's also a grip called handshake, which is pretty self-intuitive. If I open this grip and then close it in a normal handshake, yeah, that checks out. But yeah, there's some other miscellaneous ones. I like that they're all named. Like this one is called sleeve, which is literally, I believe, just for sliding your hand into a sleeve and not getting it caught on anything. You also have hang loose, maybe less utility to that one, but still fun. Or even my personal favorite, peace.
Peace.
There's also this one, which is called rude. But it's pretty crazy how much functionality is in this app. Side note, by the way.
Imagine someone's cussing you out, have an argument with somebody, and you're like, hold on, let me get out my app. And like you have this arm.
Rude.
Get out my app.
But it's pretty crazy how much functionality is in this app. Side note, by the way, this has to be the fastest pairing Bluetooth device I've literally ever used, and it's worked flawlessly every time. You turn it on with that button, then you let it do the quick little initialization, wiggle the fingers, then scan, click, boom, connected in like 2 seconds flat. It's awesome. And so users of the Ability Hand will be able to set different series of grips in a row as defaults, like daily grips or exercise grips or dining grips. But of course, the target demographic for this as a product is not going to be using these buttons to open and close the hand.
Right.
Which brings me to my second way of controlling the Ability Hand, which is EMG. So I've tested a few kinds of EMG tech on this channel, most recently Meta's prototype AR glasses. They had this wristband with a bunch of sensors inside that measured the electrical signals that my brain's sending through my nerves. This is using that same technology. So for actual customers missing a hand and looking to replace as much of that functionality as possible, this is how they'll open and close the hand. Essentially, they'll have a prosthetic, a connection to their arm with EMG, and then the hand will connect to the end of it. So what I do here is I put the hand on the end of this demo prosthetic. A regular prosthetic would be much...
Bro, I feel so... This is making me think about people that lost a hand. Like, that's so sad, bro. We take stuff for granted that just... It's every day for us. So we're like, it's just a hand. Yeah, until you lose it. Bro, I feel so bad for them.
Smaller, but this is so I can put my hand inside. And on my arm, I'm going to attach these sensors to two spots that they've advised me are the best for measuring that electrical signal. So now what you're seeing is I've got the two EMG sensors hooked up on my skin. I've taped them on to roughly the right positions based on what they've told me. And you only need to because,
so big,
as you can see in the app, it's measuring the delta between the two signals. And that's the difference between opening and closing the grip. So now, if I flex just the right way and send the signals just the right way, it will actually close into a grip. And I have in the app a cycle of different grips that it can actually go through based on, like I said, what situation I'm in. So if I open again and then open again, it's ready to move to the next grip, which I think is like that. And then if I open again and again, I'm ready to do the peace sign, which I think is like that. Nice. There's a lot of concentration on this. Nice. So this is the closest that I and fully limited people can get to controlling this bionic hand with their brain. It's a lot of fun. Actually, there's also haptic feedback. So if I put my hand in this, there's actually a vibration motor where I can feel when I've closed my hand on something, which is pretty cool. And also, the stronger I flex, the faster the grip moves between open and closed. So of course, now the natural question is, what can I actually do with it? So let's find out. So I am fully hooked up and I am practiced.
The hand looks kind of
good at
small,
opening and
though.
closing my hand. So I'm gonna try to do some stuff basically in an order of how difficult I think it will be. With the asterisk that I'm not a longtime user, I'm just trying this out. Starting with just picking something up. So this is a basic thing. This is a water bottle, shop.nkbhd.com. Okay, there we go. I picked it up. And I do actually feel the haptic feedback in the hand, basically. So when I touch something, you can maybe even hear it a little bit, but I do feel it. But yeah, that's the simplest thing, picking something up. All right, so next thing I'm gonna try to pick up is much smaller, which is why I'm switching it to the pincer grip to pick up smaller things. Ooh, it's a little harder, smaller.
Grab that thing.
Trying to be very precise, which is harder. So it turns out changing the orientation of your arm, the way you feel things, kind of changes the way your inside and outside arm are related. All right, that's hard. That's harder than I thought. I'm giving that like a 8 out of 10 difficulty. All right, next task, peeling a banana.
No way.
What I'm thinking I'm gonna do is the same grip, and then ideally just pinch the stem and pull. I've heard some people peel a banana from the other side, but I'm not gonna try that.
I've heard that too. That's kind of
It'll
weird.
just be a matter of getting the right
Am I
spot
crazy?
and then holding on. Oh, success.
Slipping.
Success. That's like a 5 out of 10. All
Fill the whole thing.
Typing is
Yeah,
another one
it
of those
would've gotten
things
harder
that I
after that.
believe I can do a little bit better two-handed than one.
You have to pill it without the stem.
I'm switching to the pointer grip because I feel like I'm not going to be able to do full-on regular typing, but you can still hunt and peck here. From there, that was pretty straightforward. I was also surprised to find out that you can use phone screens with the hand. It seems like all the electronic capacitance is still perfectly fine.
They definitely got to add that.
Typing and using a phone, very easy. It's like a 1 or 2 out of 10.
When people actually start using this, then they'll want to use their phone. Always going to try to write. There's no way this looks good. I guess it just needs to
Not
grab
my most
it,
beautiful
and
effort
he can
of all
just move
time.
his arm.
But I did write something. But yeah, again, it's interesting that you can modulate how quickly or how slowly you open and close the hand based on how much you flex those muscles. So I'm able to very slowly put the pen in just the right grip, and ideally it's strong enough to write a little bit, but that is the thing that I've learned the most from these different grips. So look, obviously there are lots and lots of different prosthetic limbs out there already, but in the past years they've gotten better and better and more capable, and it's to the point where now in 2025 it kind of feels like, yeah, of course we should have carbon fiber, water resistant, fully dexterous, 5-fingered hands that weigh less than a regular human hand with a rechargeable battery that's controlled by EMG. Of course. So while obviously there are still limits,
why wouldn't we?
Like I know I'm not going to go
Big
play Ultimate Frisbee or even, tie shoelaces or do anything super crazy with this, it's still awesome that even the amount I'm able to do as a completely untrained user has me so impressed with the amount of functionality it's able to give back to the people who need it. And then they also have these even crazier demos, like connecting it to a brain implant.
Grip doesn't seem
I obviously
really
can't test myself,
hard,
but
though.
Seems to imply that the ceiling is way higher than what we've already seen. Overall, though, it just is really cool to see how far tech has come towards improving the human experience on planet Earth. That's all this stuff is really about. Like, I'm not in the target demographic for this product, but that doesn't mean I can't appreciate how much work went into making this and how well.
That's one step closer to the Winter Soldier's arm. Just a full-on, completely useful. You can do whatever you want with it. One day, man. One day.
It works. So shout out to Bionic for letting me play with this. I'm going to give it back to you now so that you can give it to someone who can use it much more than I can. Either way, technology is strong, but the flesh is weak. Catch you guys in the next video.
Man, good video, man. How's he get his hands on this kind of stuff, man? I think the last video we reacted to was like drone delivery, which was crazy. But good video, man, as always. Thank you guys for watching.